Good morning. My name is Sterling Connolly Chu. Welcome to Second Growth Homes. Today we're completing the tongue and groove on the 20 by 36 A-frame cabin that we're building here in Gustavus, Alaska. Today we're going to do a little bit more of a close-up, in-depth review of installing tongue and groove today. So you and I, what we're going to do is go straight up this ladder, get up on this scaffold, and we're just going to stay right with me today, and we are just going to start putting down tongue and groove boards. I'll show you exactly what we're doing, how we're doing it, and at the end of the video I'll do a little walk around where we've got the whole roof on the A cabin and she's shedding water. It's gonna be awesome. So we build these cabins start to finish, starting in the woods with trees and ending with a fully finished home. So if you'd like to come for the whole build, stay with me till the end. Please click the like and subscribe buttons below, and you can come back to YouTube and search, type in Second Growth Homes. You can come with me that way. So here we go. Let's see, I think we have what we need up there, other than my tape measure dropped here. Baby clipped on here. Okay, so for the smaller size A-frame, the 16 by 20, I never even thought about tying on. You're just kind of working on this surface. I don't know, you just kind of see it's not really like roofing where you're standing on a slope thing. It's too steep to stand on, so you have to put these boards to walk on. There's different ways to do this, and I don't know, I just didn't even think about tying on. It felt really safe. This bigger cabin, the 20 by 36 with 23-foot rafters, well, you'll see us, I'll be tied on for all of the metal roofing install and all that kind of stuff. So here's where we stopped today. We just unfolded this. We had this folded up, so let's go ahead and get started measuring for these tongue and groove boards here today. Oh, we got one row to finish, and then we get to start fresh. The first boards that I had to do 2/3 of the roof were 12-footers. Then the store ran out of 12-footers, and now we've got 16-footers. So let's go ahead. 72.5. Let's see, did I get my sharp? I know I sharpened the pencil. Did I bring it with me? Okay. We gotta walk over. Well, that is 72.5. Measure this other end. It's my birthday today, so it's usually sunny on my birthday. Like, it's 35 years, it's always been sunny and hot, except for maybe one cloudy day. This year, I decided to put this A-frame roof on my birthday, and it's raining, so that's karma for you. I am gonna be so happy. You know, you get to this stage and you're like, oh, we just got to keep all this beautiful wood dry. So we really just want to get this covered up and breathe a sigh of relief. So I'll show you here. There's 15 feet, so we can't actually make it all the way to the end. So I'm pretty sure that the board we need going this way needs to be exactly 15 feet, but let's just double check it. So here we're hooked on the outside of that rafter, and if we measure to the same side of the rafter over here, we cut the board to that length, that'll be the same distance as if we measured from the middle of the rafter to the middle of the rafter. So let's take a look. Yep, 15. So there's one thing here, see that joint right there? We're always staggering the joints, like always, because this is just finishing this last row, and this tongue and groove is mainly So since we're finishing this last row, you know, it'd be totally fine to butt one plank there on the same rafter. Like, that'd be fine. But really, what we're trying to do is we're always trying to stagger that joint. Just means we wouldn't put a joint right there. We'll put one over there. So we'll see what boards Joey's got for us and if we can move that joint over. And then we're gonna start a new row here. So we're starting with 16-foot planks. So we're gonna come from that way as far as we can. It's actually 15 feet, but as far as we can go. Then we'll do another full board, and we'll have to cut this end, okay? And then to stagger the joints, so we go full board, short board on the end. And then for the next one, we'll start at this end and we'll go full board, short one at that end, okay? And that'll just offset the joints. And then instead of doing a random pattern like we did for the rest of it, we're just gonna go stepped like this, because it makes a little bit more sense with the 16 footers to do that. The 12 footers, it really made sense to do a random pattern, but for us today, it's better for us to just get 2 of the longest planks we can on, and then an end, 2 of the longest planks we can on, and then an end, and that'll just make the best use of our timber, is my idea today. So we're shoot these measurements down to Joey. He's gonna pass us up a plank, and we will get going here today. Working out of the back of this U-Haul van right now. It's so wet that it just kind of makes sense to keep these boards under cover. Just pull them out as we need them. And tomorrow when it's sunny, we can unload the rest. So the first piece we need today is 72.5. Then what we'll do is, I found a 12 footer that we can put down, and that will give us that offset of those butt. Joey's putting us some sawhorses, and then he's gonna get a big stack of tongue groove going on there, and we'll really start cutting for the day. So our job is to get this row finished off and give him measurements. So here's a 12 footer. This one had a little knot, so I set it aside, but it actually looks pretty good. It'll be fine way up there on the ceiling. Whoa. I ran into a live tree, guys. Okay, well, I'm extremely ethical. I don't know what to call it. Filmmaker, YouTuber? I'll just say YouTuber. So that means is like I'm never endanger myself or do anything for videos. So sometimes the videos are a little bit mellow because I don't film when stuff's getting, like when things aren't going well, but just, you know, gotta be ethical making videos, and I'm not sure everyone understands that, but I try to be very ethical with everything in my life, and video making especially. Like, I try not to do anything weird or never push anything. So I'll turn the camera off. I'm gonna walk up this ladder, get to the top, we'll start putting boards on. Back up on the scaffold. Oh, I really find that these smaller A-frames, actually, it seems like you'd think, oh, it's a steep roof, it's going to be harder, but because it's just one surface that just goes all the way up and down, it's actually really easy. Like the ladders, big ladders can just set all the way, they just lay all the way up the roofs really easily, going straight to the ground or to a big scaffold down there. And in my opinion, they're actually easier to build than a normal gable roof. If you want to see us put the metal roofing on, click that like and subscribe button below. Where's my face? It's so dark. Below my face there. And then come back to YouTube, search for Second Growth Homes. We'll be putting a standing seam metal roofing onto this exact cabin that you see here, and they'll be really fun. I like roofing the A-frames a lot better than I do normal cabins. So here we go. So the actual process of installing tongue groove is fairly simple. If your material is really nice, it makes it really simple. Our material has been pretty nice. If the material is not that nice, it makes it really hard. First thing you need to do is you need to start with a straight line. So using a string or a laser and your eye, you need to get the first line of boards on perfectly straight. Okay? Then you need to slam them tightly together as you're going. So we'll just slam this one tight. Okay, that's it. So that board, it's down all the way, it's tight, it's good. If it wasn't down all the way at one end or the other, there's various things we could do. Mainly what I will do is I'd screw a big block on here with the timber lock. So a chunk of 2x4 with a timber lock, then take a wedge, either a plastic chainsaw wedge or just a wooden wedge, hardwood, and you just tap that wedge in between the block and the tongue groove, tighten it down. First one I split a little. Okay. So what we're doing is we're tacking it in place with screws. Just enough to hold it in place, like I don't even need to do the end. And then we're gonna air nail, just face nail all these with the ring shank air nails. So the basic of that's pretty easy, right? Get a straight line, start putting your boards on. You could be hand nailing these down as you go. I have screwed entire roofs, even though people say you need to use nails. I've had great luck just screwing stuff down. Just make sure you fasten it really, really, really well. Good nails are probably the best. If it was dry, we should probably glue it too. I haven't been gluing it just because it's kind of like a challenging step, but it would be a really good idea. And pretty straightforward. So as we're putting this board on here, I will explain to you some of the things that will happen while you're installing tongue and groove and what you could do to avoid them. So we did the other side of this, and I didn't even double check this measurement that I'm going to show you here. That's really important. I just slammed it all down and it came out perfectly. So what you're looking for is when you get to the ridge, you want the tongue and groove to be parallel to the ridge. So if you look at that going all the way down, it's got a tiny bit of variety right in the middle, but all in all, like, that looks great. That looks great. So what you can do, let's get you guys set up here. So what you can do is you can measure. So you measure, I'll probably take a couple measurements just for fun as we're going here. You just measure from the top down to where you're working once you're about halfway to 2/3 up the roof. And what you can actually do, this is pretty cool, that's 105.5. Okay, remember that for me. So we'll go along here and check as we're going. You got this 1/2 inch tongue and groove, okay? And what that does is it allows the boards to shrink and swell a little bit and not see cracks between them. That's the main thing that does. So it hides the gaps. So if these boards separated like 1/8 of an inch, instead of having an ugly line, honestly, if you weren't really close to it, you might not be able to tell at all until it actually got like a 1/2 inch big and it was really open. And even then it kind of blends it together. If you look really closely at tongue and groove, like I do, you'll see houses where it's open and where it's shrunk, then you'll see places where it's tight. So what you do is, let's say the measurement at that end of the roof is bigger than the measure at this end of the roof. So it's 95 at this end, 96 at that end. Well, what you do is you get your string line out and your straight lines out, and you bring it up 1/8 of an inch at that end and make it as tight as you can at that end, okay? Just 1/8 of an inch, then use your strings to keep those lines straight. And you just keep doing that and keep checking yourself. More often than not, in just a couple rows, like you think it would take 8 rows to gain that inch, more often than not, it'll balance itself out faster than you think. So put a couple rows on, like 2 or 3, and then check it again and see how you're doing. So by they call that fudging, okay? It's a carpenter term, fudging. By doing that a little bit, you can make it so that your tongue groove job comes out perfect. When you get to the ridge, it's gonna be perfect. So I didn't do it on the other side, it came out great, but now that I'm talking about it, we should probably do it on this side. 105.5 is our measurement. We'll go along and check the whole line right now. Here's another board going on, okay? Slam it down. What you don't want to do with tongue and groove is go to one end, slam it down, go to the other end, slam it down, and then have it doing this like rocking thing. You just want to get it up there, get one end of it slammed tight, screw it in. Okay? And then you can either kind of work your way along the board, tighten it up, and fasten it, or in this case, I'll show you. So this board is just a little rough, I'd set it aside. So see this big gap here at this end? So I could nail a big block of wood here, right above it, just real close, and tap a wedge in here, and that would push it down. You see, but these boards being soft 1x6 softwood, it's actually pretty easy to bend them, and I should be able to get this tight just with my body. Sorry. I should be able to get this tight right here just with my weight and a little bit of tapping. So we'll start a screw. We're gonna angle the screw super down like this so it'll suck that tight, okay? Just barely. So I can just barely hold that down. Oh, wait. So I'll actually pull it away from the wall a little bit. Think that screw? Nice. That's good. So what I did there was to make it easy. I have my screw super angled, okay? I tipped the board so it was like 1 inch away, and I set my screw in. So then as that screw tightens up, it's gonna suck that board down. And you can see here, it's got 1/8 of an inch here. It's absolutely tight here, and it's got 1/8 of an inch there. That's as good as we can get, so call that good. So now we need one more piece here. That looks good, Joey. Huh? Oh yeah. 71 1/4. 71 1/4.
Man, I wish that last batch of wood was as pretty as this shit.
Is it nicer?
Yeah, and that side kind of has some, looks different than the other side a little bit.
It's really hard when you're buying the bundles.
Yeah.
So our first bundle of tongue and groove is absolutely gorgeous. This one had a little bit of stains, but don't worry, we'll sand it. And then this stack is beautiful. This is the one funny product where tongue and groove, or Home Depot makes it. I mean, they don't make it, but the tongue and groove that Home Depot buys is like, this looks exactly like what I make. I mean, you can't tell the difference, like if I put it up in front of you. It's really funny. I'm all about using our own wood, but you know, it's a rainforest here, and sometimes it's just challenging to get the lumber dry. So we were able to mill this entire frame, so all the frame is ours, the foundation timbers, the whole cabin comes from us, you know?
Stand up some foliage?
No.
They're all gonna be cut.
They're all gonna get cut a little. So I'll give you the first row of measurements right now.
Yeah, no worries.
So here we're switching to a new batch of wood, and this always sucks. It'll often be a little bit different, So in this case, our new boards are a little bit thinner than the old ones, so I just have to space this a tiny bit and it'll be fine. And that goes for our lumber too. We do our best, but sometimes the different batches are just a little different. Okay, so time for a new row. Okay, so go ahead. Pull our tape and we'll just give Joey a list of measurements. Yeah, we laid this out nicely. 15 even.
15 even?
Yeah, I think most of them are going to be 15 actually.
15 even.
I think each row is going to be 2 15s. Oh, I'm stoked we have those gable ends. It actually will use all those 1-footers. That'll be great. So 15, another 15. Okay. So 2 full 15s and then a short one to get to the end here. And then what we'll do is it'll go 15, 15, short board, and then it'll go 15, 15, short board. That'll be a really easy way for us to go.
So it's 71 1/4 and 15.
Yeah, let me check that 71 1/4. I think it'll be the same. So 15, 15, and then 72 1/2. And then I think that is actually right.
72 1/2?
Yep. So that's 15, but it's not quite. Oh yeah, we're good. Okay, so then 15, 15, and yeah. Let me see. You could go 71 1/2. Perfect. Okay. Sweet. So for the first row we did a staggered pattern, which worked out really nice with the 12s. These long boards, it makes sense to just go 2 boards in the short one, 2 boards in the short one, and then we're going to use any scrap we have in the gable ends of these cabin, in the gable ends of this cabin. So one of the next things that we'll be doing here is we're going to put the floor in the cabin, the subfloor, and then we're going to frame the gable ends. And that's actually really fun. Pretty much on any house, and especially on this house, it's actually the most challenging carpentry part basically of the whole house. It's really fun. So we do some really nice joinery there, and I will show you what that looks like shortly. It's kind of an interesting day filming on the roof with the little GoPro in the hand. Okay, so there we go. It's our first big board of the day, and she's got some bend, but not bad. See, it looks so bad, but it's actually pretty easy. So same thing, we'll come back from the end, angle these screws down, tap it down all the way so that is tight, and then I'm going to hold it back just a little bit from the roof and sink this, not too much, just a little. Okay, then over sink that screw a little bit. That'll pull it down. That looks great. So, okay, got that. I can put this one on. We got that nice stagger going. So with 2-inch tongue and groove, it's really easy to just toenail it. But with this small stuff, I find just not quite enough meat to toenail it. So toenail would go right through here, angled in like that, and that would really help pull it together. But in this case, we just use these angled face nails. Oh yeah, nice and tight. Perfect. Okay, I said I was gonna check at the top, and I will here right now. My memory was 105.5. I'm not gonna worry about the very, very end, but I'm gonna come in 1. Just get this close. 105, okay, I'll be honest. 105 and 7/16. There we go, I fixed it. 105.5. Perfect. So we're good here, and we'll double check that when we get down to the far end. So we know now that this and the middle are perfectly parallel, and hopefully that far end is gonna be the same. So next, we'll put this board on, and we'll put this board on, and I'll just kind of run 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we'll come back 1, 2, 1, 2. See how that goes for us. Together good. It's a little different. Every batch is a little different. But these are going together.
A little harder to manage too, being that long.
Yeah.
Heavier.
I can't recommend using your lithium-ion drill as a hammer all day, but I use mine as a hammer all day. Had them die, but not from the. Okay. So, yeah.
So, 72.5, we would cut it out of a full.
Yeah.
And that leaves us like 10 foot.
Yep. That'll be perfect. Those 10s are they're perfect for the whole fronts and back of this thing. Okay. Let's do our measurement to the ridge now. For here. And again, that's checking that we're straight with the ridge, because that's where you'd be able to see it. When we're doing the walls, I'll show you. Sometimes you need to be straight, like as you're coming up the wall with the tongue and groove, there'll be a line of windows, and you need that board to look good going across the top of those windows, or it'll look really weird inside, not good. So from the top of the window, as you're working your way up all the sides, you'll keep measuring and fudging these lines a little bit, so that when you get to the top of those windows, a big long board across will just look perfect. Let's go here, and You got, whoops. There. $105. Yeah. So I'm about a half an inch high at this end. The half inch is close enough that in this case it would be like half an inch would be the maximum allowable distance. I would say you won't be able to see that at all. It doesn't matter. But I don't want that to get any worse. So what I'm going to start doing is make sure I'm slamming these down tight, and without using a string or anything, I'm going to naturally leave the boards going that direction up just a tiny bit for one row, and then we'll check it again. We'll do it one more time, and we will fix that up a little bit. That being said, it's within the area where I could just finish it to the top and I'd be happy with it. But if I keep creeping up on this end and it got up to like 3/4 of an inch, that would be bad. So let's go ahead and we'll start trying to pick up a little extra height on that end. Let's see what happens. Half an inch, you know, the A-frames are built out of like big rough on timber and stuff, and it varies a little bit. So it's really, you know, I should probably measure it in a couple places to say, oh, that actually needs to be fixed, but we'll just do a tiny bit of fixing here today. It's probably good, I'll get to show you too. So if you did the math, you figure if all we did was raise that end 1/8 of an inch every time, it would get us there in 4. Okay, so if we raise that 1/8 4 times, it would raise that end a half an inch compared to this side, and we'd be level again. So what we'll do is, without even really measuring it, I will just leave everything going that way up a little bit for 2 or 3 rows, and we'll see how close we get. Nice and tight. Hey.
I fucking love sawhorses.
Dude, it's so nice. Every time I do anything else and we finally build them, I'm like, what were we doing? It's supposed to be day 1, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Day 1.
When we built houses, the first lumber package that we would get there, before we even did anything, we'd build like 4, 5, 6 sawhorses.
Get them all set up. Okay, we're gonna go down and get the plastic half nails, which are these little guys right there. And I'm gonna get this roofing up there like this, so we can walk on the scaffold again. So we'll get that done, and we'll keep doing tongue and group today. And I'll show you, I will show you putting this all on. We're gonna do a full strip together shortly. Nice.
We need to make a kelp bog, and I was like, okay. There's not a lot of kelp out yet.
I know. So it's like really like there's either like, got this underlayment up, and we can get up another level. So we're using these synthetic underlayments now. Buy it at Home Depot. It used to be a product called Tiger Paw. It had these paws on it, like paw prints all over it, and I really like that stuff. And then Home Depot seems to have come up with their own version of it. But that being said, I don't have any issues with this Everbuilt paper at all. It seems great. So. I would have stuck with that Tiger Paw stuff forever. It was my choice, but I can't get it anymore. The owner of Tiger Paw watches this video. I'll take about 100 rolls of it. I use a variety of underlayments. I like there's an ice and water shield that Home Depot sells for about $100 a roll. You'll see us use a lot of that. And it is a peel and stick product, but it's more like a piece of peel and stick roll roofing than anything like asphalt. And it's a lot easier to install than the Grace Vicor peel and stick material, which is very good, but man, it is hard to put that stuff on a hot day. I've been really enjoying this hammer from Milwaukee. It's been a nice one. I really like that thing. Okay, well, we'll go along and get this up. And we climb up here and keep going. So the benefits of synthetic tar paper are it goes on faster than the original tar paper, and it's a lot stronger for wind, which is really nice. Negatives are you can't beat tar paper. Like, you know, if you were able to lay out a new layer of fresh tar paper and cover it up that same day, you can't beat it, because there's something about the tar and wood that just goes really well. It seems to cut down on mold and stuff like that. Something about the tar. It's tar paper is good if you get really thick stuff. So I actually occasionally use tar paper on the inside of my walls, because everybody wants us to use vapor barrier, but I just, especially in a remote cabin where it's not going to be heated all the time, you really don't want any vapor barrier at all. I know people do it, but for me, this cabin has synthetic roof underlayment, but no vapor barrier. One of the many things I like about Second Growth Homes A-frame cabins. No layers of just plastic sheeting in the walls to stop moisture movement. Oh shit, sorry. You're good. So I've used tar paper on the inside of the walls to give it something kind of like a vapor barrier, but I think that it helps keep the mold down. So I put tar paper up on the wall and then put tongue and groove on it for like a normal stud framed house. And that cabin has been perfectly successful. It sits unheated in remote Alaska for 6 to 7 months of the year, maybe even 8 months. And we just were out there last month, and that 16 by 20 Saginaw cabin that I did that tar paper vapor barrier in there has absolutely zero mold and 0 issues. I built an A cabin out in that same location, and that one is also designed to sit. It's designed for summer use. It's not that you couldn't use it in the winter. It's got a wood stove and everything. It'd be great. You go live in there all winter, no problem. But it doesn't have a super insulation like this one. It's because it's not designed to be heated with like electricity or oil. So these homes need to be super insulated so that the owner heating bills are really low. We're not overusing energy. It's actually like a building code in Juneau. You have to have R23 in the walls and R49 insulation in your roof. This one gets R30, but it's a full 6 inches of foam with no studs going through it. So what that means is the whole roof gets covered with 6 inches of foam and then capped. So it's got wood here, 6 inches of foam, wood out here, ventilation. There's no studs that go through that area, so the heat transfer is extremely lower. So this A-frame, even though technically it only has R30 instead of R49 in the roof, I would argue that, well, it has R30 in the walls instead of R23. even with that, this cabin is going to be so ridiculously energy efficient. It's just going to be awesome. You could go thicker. I could probably put up to like 12 inches of foam on here if we really needed to, but you'll see it. Like, this is an awesome insulation package. Like, if we were going to go to Fairbanks, maybe they'd want 12 inches of foam, but here it's like, it is 6 inches of that foam with no way for air to move through it, no way for any heat to transfer through it, through your studs. The R value, I think, is probably double. So I think it's going to be really impressive how easy this is to heat. Okay. So it is time for us to climb up another layer now, okay? Gonna get up here. We got a butt joint right here. So we're gonna start with a long one from this end and then a short one on top of it. So let's go super careful. These are boards that Joey has laid out for us to install. And we need to get up there. So, you know, every layer you go up here, it just resets. So if you're not afraid of heights and you're careful, it's not the danger level, you know, you're getting higher, but it doesn't change. I'm standing on this board, okay? Standing here. I got a board in front of me. Now I'm gonna stand up here. I got a board in front of me. So it's just kind of like climbing a tree. It's like the danger of the heights, you know, most of that is just in your mind, and it's not any harder to do the last row than it is the first row. They don't get harder, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If you did somehow like walk off the end, you know, like just like walked off the end of this and fell, well, the higher you are, the more dangerous it is. But for practical purposes, every board you just reset, and then you're just here again, you're standing up, there's, you know, there's nothing to slip. You can't slip, you're standing on a really firm thing, and then you got these to hold on to. And the first couple rows, like I'm doing right now, are just a little bit low for me. They're like, you gotta kind of crouch down a little bit, but once we get up to about here, it's really easy. So let's just walk over there real careful. You know, I'm always leaned into the roof. Go really slow. And I hope that what you'll see here is that these A-frames are easier to build, arguably, in my opinion, than our normal stud frame houses. They're also a lot cooler to build, a lot more fun to build. They're really fun. And you know, you kind of like join and assemble these timber A's and stand them up. That's super fun. And then, well, set your foundation. Join and assemble these timber A's are super fun. Then you sheet the whole thing with tongue and groove. And I've always loved tongue and groove. We make miles of it. We install miles of it. It just never gets old for me. Love it. Doing good? This one? You could throw up a 71 and a half.
72 and a half?
That end was 72 and a half, and this end was 71 and a half. I don't know why. So yeah, that end was 72 and a half, this was 71. Okay. So you can also make yourself like a tapping block. It works really well, where you cut off a piece of the groove and then you use that to tap your board on. So I forgot we're gonna adjust it, so let's try to start over. So, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to fix that height difference without doing anything visible, okay? So what I did is we're gonna put it tight at that end, slam it all the way tight. Well here, okay, I carried it up 1/8 of an inch right there, okay? That's it, just 1/8 of an inch. It might even more like a 16th. Basically, like, all I did was I just didn't put it quite together all the way. Slam this in here. Oops. There's a bent screw. That end is 105 inches from the ridge. Right here was 105.5 inches, so we got to get it up a little bit. And then we had exactly the same measurement down here. So what that means is we'll just kind of do the same thing here. And we don't need to do it more than right there. It should, so technically it would be, basically they both need to go up an 1/8 inch per run, but we'll just make these little adjustments here. If nothing else, this will keep us from compounding on our mistakes. So that's what you don't want to do in carpentry, and I'll show you one of these days where I do that. So that's where you make a mistake and then you measure from that mistake to your next board, and then, well, if you make that mistake again, you'll start compounding, and then compounding on it, and then you'll end up with an issue that you can see. So we also want to double check, because we put on 2 more rows of wood already, and that might change it significantly. So let's go ahead and measure here. It's 85 exactly, and then we'll just check that as we're going across. I can take that short one now, Joey.
Ready?
Yep. Where'd that board come from? I was working with my dad the other day. You know, he's a lifelong carpenter. He was throwing stuff up to me. I was way up on the log truck working, and he was so good at throwing these things to me, I just couldn't believe it. They just kept hitting me right in the hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust every other row. So the long board, it's easy to adjust. With the short board, I really need to snap a chalk line. So I'm going to use that long ones to straighten it out. And the short ones will just slam on. So I'll slam a few more boards on here and we'll get going. Okay, final push to the top.
Yeah, I mean, those guys like out in Elfin Cove, like Ryland and Tyga, they taught me a lot. Like when the tide's doing this, and if the wind's blowing this way, it's gonna pick up in this certain zone. Like, and they're dead on every fucking time.
It's such a, yeah, I know. It's such an incredible thing. The tide.
Yep.
So here, the conclusion of us straightening this line out is I made one adjustment. That's all I did. One row. I picked that end of it up a little extra high and made sure that this end was nice and tight. Then I put a couple more rows on and double checked it. It is exactly 85 inches. Bang, bang, bang at the 3 or 4 spots I measured. So it's perfect. So this is one of those moments where, you know, you kind of realize that carpentry is, you know, more of an art form than it is a science in a lot of ways. Okay, it really is. It's art. So it's like, you know, math and stuff, you'd really think that we needed to move it up 1/8 of an inch 4 times to get a 1/2 inch, and realistically we did, but there's all these other variables involved where the wood's not straight, you know, yada yada yada. What I found time and time again is when you're making those adjustments, Don't make 4 adjustments. Just make 1, maybe 2, and then check it again. Because more often than not, you'll overcompensate. And you don't want to be going like this as you go up the roof. You just want to lay, check it, adjust a little bit, lay, check it, maybe adjust a little bit, lay. So don't overdo it with those adjustments. Just 1 simple adjustment, check it again. If you need to do it again, do it again. And as far as we go today, we made 1 tiny adjustment, put a few more rows on, absolutely perfect. So go ahead and just hammer down, and I'm gonna race for the finish here today. Joey's cutting me and feeding me boards, and I am just nailing down on the roof. Yep, another one. That's our last row of scaffold that we need, so it's always a relief. Hey.
Okay, we didn't get plywood way up there. The old fucking tree plant with the fucking rope on it.
I know, that'd be nice. That'd be the nice way.
Fucking bring the winch. Yeah, winch up 5 pieces at a time.
Or we can get Clayton on the job. That was what we used to do, man. Oh my god. My dad's first asphalt roof on his house, it was like 4 pallets or 3 pallets of shingles. Carried them all the way up there, up the 2-story ladder.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
People were calling me when Skylar was here. My son's oldest was working here in town, and he was carrying bundles of shingles up the roof, and like not even using his hands on the ladder.
Yep, it's going up.
Like walking up with bundle on each shoulder.
Yep.
Crazy.
Good news is we put a 2x4 every 2 feet as you're going up, so we kind of got these ladder things, and then we'll need to get some big. My favorite thing about these A-frames is laying back like this. What?
Kind of winged it there at the end.
That's okay. Let me put my camera up. Hard to film these last ones, but we're getting her done. Last couple pieces. Yeah, that's the right length. Oh yeah, it's perfect, man. Dude, we might not even need to fucking trim it up there. Wow. Cool.
You like it?
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. last piece. It just looks gorgeous. We'll get this underlayment on and have a dry roof. Start to a dry roof.
That one's an 8 wider.
Perfect. Nope. No, it's perfect. It's perfect. I just had a staple in the end of it. Wow, that's a nice ridge. Very nice. Okay.
You still like that measurement?
Yeah. That's perfect. Awesome. Hey, babe.